While the human body is fascinating, and there are a lot of interesting things that it can do, we are all very aware of the many limits that it has as well. However, there is a small fraction of the world's population whose bodies are unique enough to push through some of these limits. Now, let's see just how unique you are. 1. Ambidexterity. For most of us, our left hand is almost completely useless, often only coming into play when it is being used to support the right hand. However, for about 10% of the population, the reverse is the case, making it a little bit difficult for them to navigate this right-hand-dominated world. Left-handed people are already somewhat rare as it is, but there is a group of people that is even rarer. Those who can use both hands to do anything and everything. Less than 1% of the population is ambidextrous, so if you are one of them, consider yourself special. 2. Paralyzed finger trick. Let's try something. Place your palm flat on a flat surface, tucking in your middle finger. Now, try making isolated movements of your thumb, index finger, and pinky one after the other. You should have no issues doing that. And if you do, you should probably get yourself a Guinness World Record. The one finger that most people have issues moving in that position, not without moving the pinky as well, is the ring finger. It kinda feels like the ring finger is paralyzed. The reason for this is that the nerves of the ring are intertwined with those of both the middle and pinky finger. So, with the middle finger down, it becomes difficult to move the ring finger without moving the pinky as well. However, some really unique people manage to do this. 3. Lick your elbow. If you are watching this video in a place where you won't be making a fool of yourself, you might want to try this out. Did you manage to get your tongue to your elbow? If you didn't, you're in very good company because most people cannot. And if you did, congratulations, you're a part of the Unique People Club. The ability to lick one's elbow is thanks to a combination of hypermobility, allowing people to get their elbow to their mouth area, and a long tongue. If you have neither of those, it's no wonder elbow licking is impossible for you. 4. Double jointedness. Speaking of hypermobility, only about 20% of people have hypermobility or double jointedness. People with this unique feature are able to twist and turn their joints in directions that most people cannot. Looking at people with this ability do their thing, you might think that it's painful or might pose a health problem. But for the most part, it isn't and doesn't. That said, if you have hypermobility, it is a good idea to speak with a medical professional just to be sure that you're not at risk of anything. 5. Gleeking. For many of us, gleeking is an involuntary thing that we do, usually when we're at the dentist's and have something in our mouth. However, there is a unique group of people that can gleek on command. Some of these people have been able to train their tongues to apply pressure to their salivary gland, allowing spit to squirt out on command. And you absolutely can too. But a select few just have the natural ability to do this. It isn't exactly a useful skill, but it could be a cool party trick. 6. Ear wiggling. If you would rather not bathe people in spit at parties, you could consider ear wiggling as your party trick. Ear wiggling is also a skill that can be learned, but it is a lot more difficult than gleeking, and most people that can wiggle their ears now just have the natural ability to. According to science, this ability is actually inherited, and only about 10 to 20% of the population can do it. 7. Little toe wiggling. Another body part that only a small fraction of the population can wiggle is the little toe. Wiggling all the toes together is not the problem. It's trying to wiggle that little toe in isolation, that is. You can try it and see if you can do it. And if you can, congratulations. 8. Fitting fist in mouth. Whether it's because they have an exceptionally large mouth, really small fingers, or really flexible fingers, there is a small fraction of people that can fit their entire fist into their mouths. It usually takes a bit of manipulation to get the fist to fit, but these special people manage to fit the entire thing in at the end of the day, while the rest of us can only struggle. Very few people manage to teach themselves to do this. But if you want to be one of those people, consider the fact that this might end in a very embarrassing emergency if you can't get the fist out. 9. Raising one eyebrow. Raising both eyebrows at the same time is something that hardly anybody struggles with. But raising one eyebrow in isolation is not as easy. It's the rarity of this ability that makes people go absolutely crazy when The Rock does it. Dwayne Johnson is not the only person with this ability, though. But it is still a rare ability that not many humans have. Some people take the rarity even further by being able to raise the one eyebrow cartoonishly high. 10. Open eye sneezing. Sneezing is a reflex action, and so is closing your eyes when you sneeze. Some scientists believe that the reason our eyes reflexively close when we sneeze is because the body is trying to protect the eyes from the irritants expelled when we sneeze. However, there are some people that have, for whatever reason, trained their eyes to remain open when they sneeze. And no, they haven't lost their eyeballs yet. That's just a myth. You can train yourself to do this too, but is it really something that you want to do? 11. Nose flaring. For some people, nose flaring comes with heightened emotion, whether they are really excited or really angry. And in those cases, the nose flaring is usually involuntary. However, there is a small fraction of people that can cause their nose to flare on command. And these people usually end up being pressured by people to do this cool party trick everywhere they go. So, if you can do it, you might want to keep it as your little secret, unless you don't mind people being overly interested in your nose. 12. Nose and or chin touch with tongue. Still speaking of noses, the elbow is not the only impossible body part that some people can touch with their tongues. However, unlike with the elbow lick, hypermobility has nothing to do with a person's ability to touch their nose or chin. It's all in the length of the tongue. Some people claim to have taught themselves to touch their nose or chin with their tongue. But unless they manage to grow their tongue somehow, it's difficult to see how they could have managed that. 13. Tongue tricks. There are many more tongue tricks that people get up to aside from licking things. Yet, most of the population cannot do any of these tricks. There's tongue rolling into a tube-like shape. There's the cloverleaf fold, 2-leaf and 3-leaf, and even cherry knot tying. All fun little party tricks that some people have, thanks to their genes. A few people have taught themselves the cherry knot tying trick though, and you probably could too. 14. Self-tickling. For most of us, having someone tickle us is simultaneously the best and worst thing that could happen to us. Laughing so hard that you pee yourself or injure someone would be the reason for that. This hasn't stopped us from launching a tickle attack on friends and family, though. But when we try to do this on ourselves, it just doesn't work. This is because the element of surprise is lost, so our bodies just can't get into it. However, there are few people who have managed to override their body's anticipation of their own tickles, managing to make themselves laugh from tickling themselves. It's either that or they are just pretending to laugh, which would be weird. 15. Foot behind the head. We talked about people who are double jointed, but even some of those people cannot manage to extend their legs far enough that a foot fits behind their heads. But some people are flexible enough to do this, with some even managing to fit both feet. You might look weird doing this, but you should be proud because only very few people have this superpower. 16. Moving foot clockwise while riding number 6. Try moving your foot clockwise. You should have absolutely no issues doing this. And if you do, you might need to see your doctor. Now, try riding the number 6 as you move your foot that way. Yup, most people find it difficult to do this as well. The reason is that the body is used to moving in controlled rhythmic movements. So, getting the foot and finger to move in different directions is going to take a lot of concentration and training. And only a small number of people have been able to manage this. 17. Eating spoonful of cinnamon. Speaking of bypassing the body's reflexes, some people have the ability to force their bodies to swallow dry ground cinnamon. If you have no idea what the cinnamon challenge is, you might be wondering why the body needs to be forced to swallow something as harmless as cinnamon. Well, it's really because cinnamon does not dissolve in water. So, trying to swallow it tends to clog the throat and result in some really unpleasant reactions, including gagging, choking, and even permanent lung damage. However, these results must not be unpleasant enough because many people have tried to do this, and a few of them found that they could swallow cinnamon without those adverse effects. Lucky them. 18. Eyelid flip. Many of us have absolutely no idea what the inside of our eyelids look like because the only way for them to do their job is for them to stay hidden. However, some people have the unique ability to flip their eyelids inside out, leaving the bloody squishy inside out there for all to see and be scared by. It looks like something like that would hurt, but with the frequency with which the people with this ability pull out their trick, it must not hurt that much. 19. Squirting milk from the eyes. Still speaking of eye tricks, some people are able to squirt out milk from their eyes. This ability is unique and interesting enough that it has found its way to talent shows. What these eye squirters do is drink some milk the normal way and somehow manage to send that milk back out through their eye. It's really difficult to explain, and it's probably a good idea to not try this at home. 20. Belly rolling. Finally, for this list, some people have the unique ability to roll their bellies, regardless of the size. Belly rolling is really just about isolating and controlling the lower and upper muscles. And while some people have just been blessed with the ability, others have had to learn it. However, even though belly rolling is something that can be learned, only a small fraction of people can do this. Which of these things can you do? Let's hear it in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.